we are talking about globalization and how to switch from local to global risk management. Well, what we see in the world is supply chain disruptions, supply challenges to set up and persist supply chain, and we are capable to have two great speakers this morning regarding this topic. And I would like to introduce now Stefan Brachetti, Financial Service Accounting, Rhenus Assets Services. So you can hear us?
Well, good.
Well, that's fine. Hello. And the second is Sven Coels. Hello, Sven. Sven is Managing Director, KM Credit Consulting in Germany. So what we see in the field of global logistics, there are huge challenges for the time being. So changing environments, the situation globally, and how a company like Rhenus responds to that. So we are really happy to hear what your insights are.
Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to share how we manage that project together with Rhenus. So we're looking forward on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, from local to global. Before we start with the presentation, just a brief introduction of the Rhenus Group. Although I think nearly everybody will know Rhenus or have seen the Rhenus logo either on a train or on a transport car. Just a couple of words to Rhenus from Stefan.
Yeah. Yes, Sven. So let me tell you a few things about Rhenus Group. We are now an international logistics provider, but we think one of our philosophy is we think globally and act locally. This means that the colleagues in the decentralized areas are responsible for their results and for the cash that it's coming. We are part of a strong family. Rhenus is a family-owned family-owned company. We are part of the Rhenus Group. Our sisters are Remondis, Zaria, and Transdev. Now we have 37,000 employees and a turnover of 7 billion euros. So Rhenus was founded in 1912, but the interesting part of the story began when Rhenus bought it in 1998. We were a local German logistics provider with around about 500 million turnover, and as you see, we're now up to 7 billion euros turnover. This has a huge impact of our credit management. When we were bought, we have SAP R2 in place and not really much credit management because we were part of the Stinnes concern and we have to fulfill the obligations the mother gave to us. Then in 2002, we decided to move from SAP R2 to SAP R3, and we recognized that it wasn't so easy as we expected. It was really a hard time, and to be honest, no one of us expected that dunning is so important in Germany. Many of our customers paid us when we sent the dunning letters, and in the migration from R2 to R3, we really had problems in it. And that was a time when our CFO decided to restructure the credit management for the first time. So we were in a time when cash was quite expensive, and then we created the credit management really with many Excel solutions and many knowledge which were in the head of the people. This was okay for that time, and we were able to reduce the time of the money outstanding, and it was quite okay for the time and for the use of the Rhenus Group. But as you see, at that time we had a turnover from around about 750 million euros, and we grow and grow. And then in 2012, our CFO decided, we are now not that company we've been at the time we created the credit management. And so we have to think global and have to do a restructure of this part. This we did together with KM Credit Consulting. And Sven, can you continue?
So what we will show you in the next slides is when we stepped in 2012, how we make the analysis of the current structure, have the ideas, what should be developed further. As you can see, we did it back in 2012, so it's nearly 10 years ago. We started with Germany and Switzerland because at that time it has been on the same SAP platform. But then after the go live of the CAM tool, we expanded it further to other countries, and Stefan will also give an outlook what is coming next. Before we discuss about the project, just a couple of words to the Ecclesia Group, where KM Credit Consulting is part of. Ecclesia is is the biggest German industrial broker for companies and institutions, with a handled brokered premium amount of 2.4 billion. Within this Ecclesia Group, there's a unit called Ecclesia Credit, where several specialized brokers for trade credit insurance and receivable financing are bundling their capacities for our customers. KM Credit Consulting is here responsible for the multinational companies such as Rhenus, who are looking to optimize and to set up international insurance programs or receivable financing programs, and would like to have a consultant who helps them to develop and establish an international credit management solution. So that's it for the advertising part. Why a credit management project? So when we first stepped in, that was the burning question, why should we do something different? And after analyzing the current structure and having a lot of interviews with the people from credit management, from sales, from finance, the key drivers have been that due to the inorganic growth, which Stefan showed, led to different credit management procedures within the group. So some did it the same way, others did it another way. So there was no group credit management procedures live. So there was no new unique view and procedures on critical customers or internal limits. There was not even a definition what is a critical customer in the light of Rhenus as a group. There was a high manual workload for the reporting, so I think Stefan Excel was very in favor for everybody. There was no transparency for the credit approval structure. Who can approve a limit for which customer under which circumstances? And the ongoing international expansion of Rhenus lead to a more international approach, not only on the local approach, which has been done in the past. So before we started with the project, it was very important to set up a proper project team. It sounds always easy, but for us it was very clear that we really need to have all parties who are part of the credit management process from the beginning together in order to avoid the fight between, for example, sales and the credit management. So of course there was a project management from Rhenus side, and we did it as an external consultant. There has been the credit managers giving the input from the daily business. We immediately also integrated the IT department, because before we have been looking for an IT solution, we have been very clear how the IT structure should look like and how a potential service provider should adapt to that architecture. We invited people from sales, because to have their feedback, their fears, what could happen regarding the daily business. We integrated them in the project, and of course a steering committee which has approved then the relevant milestones. Looking at the whole phase, which began back in February 2012, where we started with a brainstorming and analysis of the current structure. We made a feasibility study, and after this we received the go from the board. You can see it overall, it took us nearly 3 years, which is an extensive time, but based on the structure and of the needs of a Rhenus Group, it was good that we took that time and made it in a proper way. So we started in a kick-off meeting in October 2012. And within the next couple of months, we defined the new processes and workflows. So we really did it from the scratch on a green field, and said, how do we want, as credit managers and Rhenus, the new process should look like? Which products should be involved in that? Credit agency reports, trade credit insurance, IT providers, and so on. And we redefined the credit guideline based on this, completely new. After we received then the go from the steering committee, it was very clear that the new processes must have an IT support. And we made a tender process for the credit management software, where we put all relevant suppliers for SAP and non-SAP in the tender. And as you can imagine, it was then the decision to work with the CAM tool from SCHUMANN, where we had the first kick-off for the first workshop in September 2014.
Yeah. We had 4 workshops after it, and to be honest, maybe you ask yourself, why not an SAP solution? Because we wanted to have an IT platform where the people also outside from the accounting business can go or feel comfortable with. This was one of the facts which were for the CAM tool. So after the 4 workshops, there was a customizing phase where Professor Schumann did the customizing and provided us a first system where we could do the testing. And after the testing, of course, we had the user training. And then we didn't start on the green field with our insurance. So we had to be sure that the initial load is correct and will work fine. And therefore, we took a bit more time to be sure that it works exactly in the way we wanted it. We went live in October 2015 with completely Germany and completely Switzerland. Yes, it was a German solution at that time. And looking back, it was quite good that it was a German solution, because we all have to learn a lot with CAM. And so it was nicer to learn it in a language you feel comfortable. But After that, you see, we learned about CAM and we decided to go global. First, we started with the Netherlands in an English version, and later with Spain, Austria, and now also with the US. So, what are the drivers for the rollout? Our management likes our customer score. We created during the project a Rhenus customer score so that you are able to see directly if it's worth to work with a customer or not. So the customer score is not only based on one thing, it's based on several different information scores. There is the information about our internal payments experience, which is for us very, very important because we are of the opinion that we know our customer best. But it's also the information from credit risk agencies or from our insurance company. And we have defined KO criteria. For example, if we have given the receivable to a collection agency, then the customer score can't be very high. So for us, you see, it's from 1, very good, to 10, flop. But for Rhenus, as a logistic company, the W is really, really quite important because W means that there are information which don't fit with each other, where there are more than 4 steps between. For example, we're doing the logistics. We are paid very well by our customer because he needs our work. But for other things like leasing companies, they don't get the money quite good, and they give negative informations to credit agency reports. And so if they don't fit with each other, we want to have a W to be focused on the customer. It can also be directly in the opposite way that we don't get our money quite good, but other informations are quite good, like the insurance company. So in this case, we have got to analyze why we don't get our money. This can be on internal processes, or we have to speak with the customer. Another reason for another driver for our rollout are the interfaces we have. So we have CAM for our leading system for the credit management. We have interfaces to credit reports. We have also interfaces to credit insurance agencies, companies, and all these things go into CAM. There, the Rhenus customer score is calculated, and also the handling of the internal risks and insurance limited is done in CAM. There is a daily communication between SAP and CAM, where CAM gives the information he has to SAP, like the customer score, the limits, and gets back all open items and all cleared items from SAP. Then SAP gives all these informations to the pre-systems, because we don't only have SAP as our operational system, we have many, many other operational systems, and they all have an interface to SAP, and so they all get all these informations from CUM.
Another driver was the handling of the trade credit insurance. So credit insurance was and is a part of the credit management within the Rhenus Group, which is a clear strategy to ensure receivables. And of course, there have been IT solutions in the past. Some countries or companies did it manually. So there was the automated limit exchange with the insurers via the CUM tool. That's one part. But of course, also the monitoring of all the relevant credit insurance obligations. So to make the notifications of overdues on the real time, helping to create the amounts for the premium calculation. So less risk of breaching obligations, which happened in the past, which has been now reduced. And of course, the flexible reporting to understand in which rating classes we have insured customers, we have maybe partial limits, or where we have internal limits given, and for what reason.
Yeah. What are the next steps? We're going to Asia with CUM. And to be honest, we're going to leave our comfort zone. We will do it without SAP in the first step. What means Asia? Asia means 15 countries and 39 companies. So in the first step, we are focused on the internal payment informations and to give them the informations of the Rhenus Group, of all the members, which give their information already to it. And the other focus is getting access to the credit rating agencies, because at the moment they don't have a system which is able to do it, and we give them CUM to have the direct line to the agencies.
So I hope we could give you a brief insight how Rhenus started that project back 10 years ago. I think it shows that it's still ongoing, so still learning, still implementing in other countries, other areas. I think Asia is a very exciting move, not only because of the information available, but also cultural things which you might have in mind when looking at the credit management in such countries. So it's really exciting to see how this moved from Germany then through the world.
Yeah, so that was really exciting, the insights, and especially now you're expanding to Asia. So how do you evaluate, that was one of the questions I saw already, the capabilities to adapt the system, maybe taking specific data coming from rating agency regarding Asia into account, and the flexibility to set up specific rules for certain world regions or countries. If you maybe could give some insights.
Yeah, we handle the system just in 2 languages at the moment, in German and English, and the colleagues in Asia are able to work with the English version. And we did it step by step. We had first the interface only to one insurance agency, insurance company, and now we have the 3 biggest in place.
And I think the very important or very exciting thing is that the broader the customer base is, the more information you will get. Because based on the different business line of Rhenus, you are doing a lot of business with the same debtor without knowing it. Mm-hmm. And with this expanding, you are getting more and more information like payment experience and so on. And you can share it within the system via the score for the other entities.
Yeah, so that seems very important to have one single system and see all the relationships between the debtors in the database. I think that's it's a good advantage. So thank you very much for all the insights and telling us what the future perspective is for Rhenus and using a proper credit management system. So thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.